Hello and welcome back to episode number 25 of the Beautiful Things podcast. My name's Claire and I run Beautiful Things, which is a craft and sewing studio in sunny Essex here in the UK. So thanks for tuning in to watch my podcast. Welcome back to any of you who've been here before, and thanks for popping back. And if you're a newbie, hi! Do pop over to our Ravelry group and make sure to introduce yourself. It's very easy to find. It's the Beautiful Things group in the Ravelry groups tab. Other places you can find me are on Instagram as artyfartymack. I'm on Ravelry as artyfartymack, and I'm on Twitter as Claire Mackiness. And I do have my own website, www.clairemackiness.com, where you can find all the details of all of my craft and sewing classes, as well as purchase the occasional project bag. So let's get started. You have probably noticed already, if you are an intrepid viewer of the podcast, that I am wearing, ta-da, my Stephen West Enchanted Mesa. I literally cast it off 20 minutes ago. I had 2 more pattern repeats to go on the sleeve, and I got home from the school run, made myself a quick cup of tea and was catching up on a few podcasts and vlogs while I finished the last 2 stripes. So whilst it is an FO, please be advised that there has been a very limited amount of end darning going on, and with all of these fabulous yarn changes, you can imagine that inside this jumper is a hot mess. But bearing in mind I'm not going to be wearing it anytime soon, as summer is now well and truly on its way, I figured that didn't matter. I should show it off to you now, and then I will probably speak really nicely to my mum, who quite likes darning in ends, and let her take a look. So let me show you. I'm going to get up, move some furniture around, and come back and give you a twirl. So here's the jumper in its full glory. I'll give you a little twirl. As you can see, it has this beautiful drapey cowl. Now this was made with undercover otter hand-dyed yarn in silver bullet, and then we go on to all the short rows with all these little eyelet holes of all these crazy, weird and wonderful yarns, down to a slightly straighter section here, and this section is Kettle Yarn Co. and the undercover otter knitted together, held double. Yeah, so really it's totally crazy. I call this my 80s threw up jumper. Personally, I do love it. It's crazy. I find the sleeves a little irritating because the armpits aren't in your armpits. That's where they should be. And actually, they're down here. And that is the design. That is how it's designed to be. So you sort of pull it up and slouch it around. And yes, I could have made the sleeves longer, but last time they were too long and they drove me mad. So basically, it's a typical Stephen West weird and wonderful, woo, out there jumper. So yeah, just to tell you a little bit more about a few of the yarns that I used. I'd obviously talked about quite a lot of these yarns in more detail in earlier podcasts, but I did this sleeve last week, and I managed to get some of this gorgeous orange fuzzy eyelash yarn in it, and I managed to get some of the crazy mixed up colour that I based the whole jumper on, but there was then none of that left for this sleeve, which was a bit awkward really, because I wanted to include some of that in there and I needed to get that pop of orange running through. So I actually did the unthinkable and I visited the pound shop and I bought some acrylic yarn. Shh. So yeah, I'm sorry, but I needed a pop of orange. I didn't need very much of it. This was fun. It's actually not bad yarn. I don't know if any of you have used it before. It's quite soft, and if you're just looking for acrylic for a quick gift knit or pom-poms or something with the kids or crafty stuff, as pound shop yarn goes, I would say it's probably better than some of the things like the Hayfield Bonus and stuff like that that you can get from your cheapy shops like B&M and things. So it's really not too bad, and I've got loads of it obviously left, but I'm sure it will serve its purpose as pom-poms or something else. But yeah, so I did buy that just to add in a couple of stripes of the orange. The lovely Eva sent me some tealy blue eyelash yarn because I wanted to just get a bit more texture in there, and I was a bit short on eyelash yarn. And then I made my cuffs, the last 2 stripes I made them match. I like the way that this chenille yarn, when it was bound off with an I-cord edging, gave you this kind of curly curled edge. So I made them the same so that those little bits match, but they're the only bits that do match. The rest of the jumper is completely and utterly random. So I do love it. It's super cozy, and I have every intention of wearing this to some of the winter fibre festivals that I go to later on in the year, although I haven't decided what they're going to be yet. So this podcast, I will apologise in advance, is going to be slightly discombobulated. I do like that word. I have had an absolutely stinky cold over the last week, to the point that I even ended up cancelling some classes, which is something I really hate doing and very, very rarely do, but I have been really under the weather. I don't think it's been helped by the fact that my allergies have been atrocious this spring. Don't know if anyone else is really suffering extra badly this year, but I have a tree pollen allergy, so I find my hay fever kicks in the spring, and then once the summer comes in, so normally by about the end of May, beginning of June, it all goes away and I don't really suffer very much. But there must be a new tree on the block or something this year, because oh my goodness me, it doesn't matter what I take or what I try, I have been really, really suffering, to the point it's almost as if someone has cut an onion in half and is rubbing those onion halves into my eyes. So my allergies have been so bad that I don't actually think I realised that this cold was creeping up on me. Had I have done, I could have maybe chilled out a little bit and given myself a little bit more self-care and looked after myself, and it may not have hit me quite so hard. But literally I've been really feeling sorry for myself, and as you can hear, although I'm much better, I'm still really bunged up and really nasally, and that hay fever is deciding to kick back in again. So there really hasn't been much knitting being done over the last couple of weeks. Saying that, I've actually achieved a lot, but I haven't got very much to show you, and it's all quite boring. Obviously I did 2 sleeves and cast off this jumper, but these sleeves literally are just knitting round and round and round and round and round and round and round, so nothing that taxed the old grey matter. But I'm going to take this jumper off now before I roast, and then I'll come back and show you what I have been working on. So this project is an old project that I've dug back out of the cupboard, and it's living in one of my very first little drawstring quilted project bags that I made later on. When did I make it? I don't know. Last year, I think. Anyway, by the by, I have been working on my Beautiful Things socks. So these are a striped pair of socks. There we go. And the yarn that I'm using is not self-striping, I am changing colour. This one here was hand dyed for me by Little Boo Yarns, and it's in Beautiful Things colourway. And then the pink, the brown and the green are all 5 Moons, and they're mini skeins that I purchased when I was at Yarndale last year. So I started these off, and I think you can see actually I've got my little sloth keeper on there from the Corner of Craft. That's where I was at a couple of weeks ago, and they were literally just sort of to here, and I was knitting them 2 at a time and changing colour. So I'd got myself into a real tangle with all the balls of yarn, changing colour, having 2 lots on the needle. Got myself in a bit of a pickle and kind of shoved it in the project bag and pushed it away, never to be seen again for a while. So I dug it back out. I actually dug it back out last Saturday. It was yarn shop day, and we had a knit and natter in the afternoon at work. So I dug it back out, and I decided that I was going to take them off the needles and put them onto my Knit Pro Zings and knit them concurrently. So I've literally been doing it on a stripe for stripe basis. So you can see, here we go. one stripe, one stripe, one stripe, one stripe, one stripe, one stripe. And I do really like knitting that way. I think it's a really nice way of just keeping going, knowing where you're at, and you finish your socks at the same time, which is just so much nicer than having that second sock syndrome. But anyway, I've been knitting and knitting and knitting. I got to about, I don't know, probably about here, and started to think, I should probably stop and put the heel in at some point soon. And then I went and watched the lovely Amy from Stranded Dye Works podcast, the Stranded podcast. And she has been working on 2 pairs of socks recently, her koi socks and her twisted limone socks. And she has just knit lovely long tubes. She's just been enjoying the stripes, going round and round and round, and she's just kept going and going and going and going. Put a toe in them. Or she might have done them toe up even and put a cuff on them, but whatever. She made a big long tube, and then she was going to be brave and try an afterthought heel. Now this wasn't one where you put the waste yarn in so you decided where it was going to be. She's literally knit these lovely long tubes, decided where she wants the heel, and cut her yarn, picked up the stitches and knitted in a heel. Now, she hasn't done that yet as far as her podcast is concerned, but I do know that she has managed it because I have seen her koi socks finished on her Instagram. So I'm sure when she podcasts, which is probably going to be today or tomorrow, I can never remember when Amy podcasts, but when she next podcasts, she will show off her heels and show you how she did them. But that is my plan. She has enabled me. And as I mentioned in my last podcast, next week I am taking an official craftcation. And during that craftcation, I am intending to do things that will develop me personally, that I can learn from and experience, but also just basically revive my creative juices, and give me a little bit of me time and a bit of self-sewing time, self-knitting time, crochet, and just generally a very nice, relaxing, crafty time. So it is my intention to keep going on these over the next few days, get the toe in, and then once the toe's in, then I am going to work out where I want my heel, and I am going to cut my socks. I am a bit scared, but I've watched lots and lots of tutorials on YouTube, and yes, it looks fiddly and it looks a bit like a slow process, but it doesn't look impossible. So watch this space. So that is all I have been knitting on, I'm afraid. I really haven't been feeling well enough to do anything that needs any kind of thinking or a brain usage at all. But I have got quite a few other things that I want to talk to you about today. So finishing my Enchanted Mesa has meant that my size 5 Knit Pro Symphony Rose Gold are now free. They have been freed from the jumper, which means I can finally cast on my Mild Magic shawl, and I'm really excited about getting started with that. The Mild Magic shawl is something that I was enabled to do by Molly from the Homespun House. Her Mild Magic looked so beautiful and so cozy that I decided I wanted to have a go. And then the lovely Hannah from the Crafty Chat podcast and Rachel, is it Rachel? Oh no, I do hope I've not got that wrong. For Soprano Knits, also released their Keep Knitting Kitten Cowl, and that's a Stephen West along, so it was perfect timing, but I had said that I was not going to cast it on until I'd finished something else. So this afternoon I will be casting on my Mild Magic. Now I may have bought a few more yarns to go in it, so I'm going to move swiftly on to acquisitions. Now, I was in Hobbycraft the other day. I don't tend to shop in Hobbycraft very often. Although it's quite a useful shop, I do find it is a little bit overpriced. And I find it a little frustrating when you go into a craft shop and you have a question about crafts and the staff can't answer it. I find that somewhat frustrating. I would like to think that if you own a fabric shop, the people that you hire to work in your fabric shop have an understanding of fabric and would be able to answer questions. Likewise, yarn, card making, jewellery, whatever. There should be people whose area of expertise is particular crafts within a craft shop. It's pretty logical, but that doesn't happen. Quite often I have a question and normally I am given the answer, don't know, sorry. And that really, really annoys me. So I don't go to Hobbycraft very often, but I did, and this is what I bought. In the sale, they had 2 balls. This is Rowan Kidd Silk Haze that I fell in love with. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous mohair. So you can see the halo on that. Look at that fuzz. And it's in a beautiful hot pink. I don't know that it's got a colourway. No, it's just got a number. Boring. I'd give it a colourway. And then I bought another one in this beautiful, beautiful mauvey colour, and they were absolutely gorgeous and perfect for the mild madness. And then this one popped into my basket as well. It's called Creative Reflection, and again it's a Rico design, but you can probably see it's got lots of stellina in it. It's kind of crinkly and really, really fuzzy. It's quite unusual. It is very, very soft. And it is, what is it? It is 46% virgin wool and 46% acrylic and 8% polyester, and it's just a 50-gram ball. So I just like that. It had a little bit of sparkle in it. It had a little bit of fuzz to it. It was a little bit textured and slightly different. And again, these kinds of yarns are absolutely perfect for Stephen West projects. And then this one I didn't buy, but I was tidying up all my yarns at work, looking for some blue eyelash yarn for my jumper, and I found this pink ball of eyelash yarn. So it's bright pink, pale pink, kind of mottled shades, and again I think that will go really, really well into my mild magic. So it was going to be all shades of pink, but there is now quite a lot of mauve or lilac-y purpley colours going in there. So I've decided I'm also going to enter this into another Cal, which is the lovely Kristen from the Yarngasm podcast's Cal, and she is doing a mauve along, and that's running at exactly the same time as the Keep Knitting Kitten Cal. So if I get my bottom into gear, I should find that I will get this finished, hopefully, in time to enter it into both Cals. So we'll see how I go. My other acquisition isn't a purchase, but it's a gift, and I wanted to show it to you. I was speaking to the lovely Helen, who's one of my customers, and showing her my sloth stitch keeper, and I was telling her how much I'm really liking sloths right now. There's loads of really cute little videos popping up on Facebook and social media of all these baby sloths, and they seem to be kind of coming into fashion, along with unicorns that are everywhere, and llamas, which is great because I love a llama or an alpaca or two. But when she found out I liked sloths, she brought this in for me, and it's so sweet. It's a lovely mug, but what I love so much is the box. The sloth is holding a little flag here, you can see, and it says on the flag, Selfkindness Squad. And on the side it says, I will make time for self-care, for the things which nourish and comfort me. I will choose kindness always. And I thought that was really lovely, and it really sits with my ethos of making sure that I look after myself as well as looking after others. So I'm going to just open it up to show you, and you can see the sloth's giving himself a cuddle, and he's got his cup of tea. And he's just happily having a little chill in the sunshine. So I thought that was really lovely, really sweet. I'm going to take this to work with me so I can drink my tea out of it. So thank you, Helen. It was a really thoughtful gift. Whoops, and there goes the box. So a couple more acquisitions. These ones are books, and this one is another one that I have got to review, and it is called The Mindfulness of Knitting, Meditations on Craft and Calm, and it's by Rachel Matthews. I haven't even opened this yet, but I have every intention of reading this during my craftcation with my crochet therapy book, and I'm going to report back and do a review for you. Now, just a little disclaimer, these books that I have to review, I have purchased myself. I haven't been sent them by anybody. I haven't been asked to review them. They are things that I have looked up for my good self on the internet and ordered and paid for, and therefore I have chosen to review them. If, however, you do want to send me something to review, I'm more than happy for you to send it, but I can't guarantee that I will necessarily get round to reviewing it for you. If I can, I will, but I can't make those promises, so the decision is yours if you wish to pop anything in the post for me. So That's going in my review pile, along with my crochet therapy book that I showed you last week. Now the last one's not really an acquisition, but it fits in quite nicely with the book theme. I've mentioned before that I love to watch Potter and Bloom's podcast, the lovely Emma. She's been podcasting about as long as I have, although she does a weekly podcast, so she's in higher numbers than I am now. But hi Emma. I was watching her podcast the other week and she mentioned a book that she had been either given or picked up in a charity shop, I'm not sure, that she'd found really, really useful because it had big sections in the back of it that explained how to construct a garment, how to design a garment, and how many stitches you needed to cast on for certain sizes, etc, etc. And it sounded really, really interesting and very beneficial. Anyway, when she showed the book, I was taken right back to my childhood because I recognised the book immediately as one that sits on my mum's shelf in her spare bedroom. It's been there for years, but I have never picked it up and never had a look. So I showed my mum Emma's podcast and sure enough, she said, yes, I've got that. You can borrow it, no problem. So here it is. It is the complete guide to needlework, and she's lent me this book. Again, I haven't opened it, haven't looked at it. It's going on the pile for me to have a look at and review, but you can still get this. I have had a look. It is available secondhand on friend's Amazon, and I'm sure you could probably pick up a copy at boot sale or a charity shop. But I wouldn't be surprised if lots and lots of you have got parents or grandparents who've got a copy of this on their shelf. It was a Reader's Digest book, and so as we all know, Reader's Digest books were printed, mass produced in the sort of 70s and 80s, and it's a really, really useful book. It's got lots of information. It says embroidery, canvas work, rug making, applique, knitting, patchwork, macrame, quilting, lace making and crochet. So I'm really looking forward to having a look at that. And Emma, thank you for transporting me back to my childhood and nudging the old grey matter that my mum had a copy of this book. So next up is a little bit of news about our Cal, our craft along, the gift along. Now our gift along Cal is the opportunity for you to make lots and lots of presents, pop them in a box and have them ready for you in December so that you can choose who you gift them to at Christmas. It's getting a head start on our gift knits, our crochet, our general crafts. Anything goes as long as you made it and it's crafted, you can enter it into the gift along. There are finished object threads in our Ravelry group for each month. You can take part in 1, 2, 3, 4, right up to 12 months. It's entirely up to you. You don't have to take part every month. And I will draw a small prize every single month. And when it comes to December, I will draw an ultimate prize for anybody who has entered one item at least into every single month. So this month was a hard one. Everybody that entered, bar 2 people I think, had previously won prizes in either January, February or March. And I like to keep it as fair as possible. I had been working based on the fact that I was choosing my favourite item to give a prize to, but I decided that this month, in fairness, it would be better if I did a random number generator. So there were 7 entries altogether. That's not many people, so come on, let's do a bit better, can we, in May, please? Get your items entered. So 7 people in total, so the random generator pulled out a number 1, which was the first entry, which is the lovely Michelle, aka Packers in Maine, and she has alpacas and she lives in Maine, hence why she is Packers in Maine. So I'm going to pop a picture up here. Michelle has done a lovely snowman embroidery on a tea towel, and she does say, please, I'm sorry that it's not pressed, but please forgive me. I will press it before I gift it at Christmas. But she's done this gorgeous little snowman embroidery, and it looks absolutely lovely. So well done, Michelle. Because you're in the US, rather than send you a physical prize, I am going to have a really good sniff around your Ravelry, and I'm going to have a look at your queue, and I'm going to send you a little something in your Rav mail. So please keep an eye on your your Rav mail, because something will be dropping into your inbox shortly. So congratulations and well done. And please do get your entries into the May thread, which is now open for you. That will close at the end of May, and I will announce the winner in the next podcast that follows the end of May. We also have our exploration station, Cal, that is running. I haven't shown you my exploration station because I haven't picked it up since I last showed it to you. I'd finished the brioche section and I was just about to get started on the slip stitch section when my cold came and whacked me down. So I wasn't going to start a new part of the pattern when I couldn't concentrate fully. So hopefully I will get a chance to pick that up over the next couple of weeks and should be able to show you the next bit of my progress. But it's lovely to see those of you that are joining in using the hashtag, which I shall put along the bottom, seeing your creations popping up on Instagram and seeing your posts in the Ravelry group. So thank you for taking part and joining in. There are some beautiful exploration stations coming along nicely, and you have until the end of June to finish your exploration station. So last time on the podcast I showed you that I'd been playing around with shrink plastic, and I've been playing a little bit more, to the point that I have been making some zip pulls for my project bags and also some progress keepers. Now if you follow me on Instagram, over the last 2 weeks I made a very small batch of project bags from some vintage Womble fabric. I popped them in my shop and they all sold out within 5 minutes flat. It was really, really fun project, but I literally had a small amount of fabric left over and wasn't able to recreate them. Loads of you commented on how much you were gutted that you hadn't been able to get a Womble bag. So I did some research, did some digging on eBay, and I discovered another small piece of the same fabric. So that was delivered last week and I opened up to custom orders via my Instagram page. Now I've had quite a few orders and I'm halfway through making those now, but I do still have a little bit of fabric left. So if you would like a Womble project bag, then do contact me. I'm happy to make a project bag in any style for you. It can be a zipper size, a zip bag in either sock or shawl size, or I can do one of my quilted drawstring bags for you. So do get in touch. But the shrink plastic side of things I've been making, I made these first of all with the idea that they would be progress keepers, but they came out a bit big. So I decided that these would make nice zip pulls. So I'm going to attach these to the zips. And then I had another little play, resized it, and I cracked the progress keeper size. So this one's for me. So they're really, really sweet. So if you do buy a Womble project bag, you will receive either a progress keeper or a zip pull as part of your order. That's included. But I am quite happy to take custom orders for these as well. So if you would like a progress keeper or a zip pull, again, do get in contact with me and I can make those for you to order. I probably will get around to putting them in the shop at some point, but for now just drop me an email or a message. I'm very easy to get hold of. If you go to my website, there's a contact us section. You can just pop your details in there and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So I wanted to show you one of the project bags that I've made this week because I really love it and I'm going to find it really hard to give up. Karen asked me to make her one of my quilted drawstring bags. So this is the Womble fabric. You can see it's absolutely lovely. It's like it's not a canvas, it's more like a bark cloth, but it's really soft. I think these were originally bedspreads. So if I open it, you can see the accent. I've done this lovely mustardy spot. It's got a lovely mustard cord and a strap, box bottom. And because it's a canvasy fabric anyway and it's got the wadding in it, it's super, super sturdy, so it sits beautifully. And when it's open on the table, you can use it obviously as a yarn bowl. Fold over the top, use it as a yarn bowl, and just knit straight out of it. So these are absolutely lovely. It's always been a design that I really, really like. This is my sock size. This is a 1 to 2 skein project, but I do also do the sweater size, which I've shown you before on the podcast, which are perfect for sort of, you know, 4 or 5 skein projects. So I wanted to show you that I've done. The other thing that I've been busy sewing is I acquired some watermelon fabric, and I thought, bearing in mind I'd purchased my watermelon sock yarn from the lovely Kate of Hand Dyed by Kate, it was time to cake it up, ready for my next pair of socks. So these will be my next socks that I will cast on. Obviously it would be rude not to have a matching project bag, so this is my one that I made for myself. It's got a little D-ring on it, hot pink. Again, it's like a canvasy fabric, so I have interfaced this bag so it's really nice and sturdy and strong. It's not going anywhere. And I have a small amount of these left, which I'm going to be putting into the shop. So there will be a mini shop update, and it's taking place tomorrow. That's Friday the 12th of May at 8 PM British Summer Time. I have another 3 of this sock size, 1 pink and 2 with green accents. And I have 3 shawl size bags, 1 with a green accent and 2 plain ones that are just the watermelons. And I have 2 little notions pouches, and they are going to be going into the shop. So I'll pop a picture up here. This is a collage of some of the ones that I've made. So they'll be going in the shop tomorrow night. So if you want one, do grab one. As always, postage in the UK for anything that you purchase in the shop is included. Unfortunately, there is postage if you're in Europe, America or Canada. Or anywhere else in the world, I should say. But your postage, if you're in the UK, is included. When I do a custom order for you, then you will also receive a postage cost included in your invoice. I shall break it down. So, just so we're clear on what you're spending your pennies on. Now the last thing, if you watch my channel, you will have seen that the last video that I put up was a reveal video of my fantastic alpaca dress. It was the Lady Skater dress by BTHQ Patterns. I thoroughly enjoyed sewing it, and I'm thoroughly enjoying wearing it. It's extremely comfy and I absolutely love it. Now the love that that dress has got on Instagram and social media has been huge, and the amount of people that have contacted me about the fabric is crazy. Now the fabric was purchased from a company called Pink Scissors Fabrics. Now they do have a website, but the alpaca fabric is not on the website. So you need to contact them via their Facebook page, because that's where I saw it and that's where I purchased it from. So if you go to Pink Scissors Fabrics and look in their photos section, you'll find the alpaca fabric, and then you should be able to order it. But I have a tiny amount left. I had hoped there would be enough that I could make a small size skater dress for my daughter, but unfortunately there really isn't. So I had a good look. I got my templates out for my sock size project bag and my notions pouch, and saw how much I could potentially cut out of this leftover fabric, and there isn't very much, but I'll show you a square. The rest of it's all still at work, but this is cut out and ready to go. This is the alpaca fabric. So you've got this gorgeous alpaca on here with these tassels in his hair, and obviously cacti with lovely pink and blue flowers and lilac-y flowers. This is cut out and good to go, and I have interfaced it because this is a jersey fabric, it's a knit, so I've put interfacing on it to kill the stretch, so you can see it won't stretch now, and it's ready to be turned into a project bag. Now I have enough of this to do 3 sock sized bags and 3 notions pouches, and that is it. And I won't be getting any more of it. So if you would like an alpaca sock bag or an alpaca notions pouch, again, please get in contact with me either via Instagram or use the contact me form on my website. They are first come, first serve. The sock zip bags are going to be £13 each, and the notions pouches are going to be 8. So please get in contact if you would like one of those. Again, they are completely and utterly limited. This is how I do my project bags. I don't like to just be run-of-the-mill and make lots and lots and lots of project bags. I don't do it to make money. As those of you that craft know, it's really, really hard to actually make an income out of making things to sell. I do it purely because I really enjoy making them. I like to see them go to good homes. I like to work with fun fabrics. And that's why all of my project bags are in small batches, and they just happen as and when I find a fabric that I really like. It just so happens that watermelons, wombles and alpacas have all come up at once. Who knows, it could be months before I make any more bags. So on to the general chit chat part of the podcast. I haven't got a crazy amount to tell you. It's been a busy week here at Beautiful Things, as well as being poorly. It's been both my son's birthday and my husband's birthday, so we've been busy celebrating this week. We've got an exciting weekend coming up. On Saturday we're going to a new seafood restaurant that's just opened in the town that we live in, so we're very excited to be trying that out with some friends and family, and also with some of my husband's colleagues who are visiting from the US. So it'll be really nice to catch up with them and have a nice night out. On Sunday, we are going to the Warner Brothers studio tour, and I have never been before. I do like Harry Potter. I'm not a massive Harry Potter fan like some of my fellow podcasters, but I do enjoy it, and I'm really enjoying watching my son starting to grow to love Harry Potter. He's read all the books, he's almost finished the films, and we've got to cram the last 2 in before we go on Sunday. But it's his birthday present from us, and we're taking one of his friends from school. So I might do a little bit of filming while I'm there. I might not. I'll see if how the mood takes me and whether I think it's appropriate, because obviously we have one of his little mates with us, and it might not be fair to throw him all over YouTube, certainly not without his mum's permission. So I'll keep you posted on that one. But anyway, we are going to the Warner Brothers Studios tour, so that's very exciting. I have a crazy week next week that I'm really looking forward to. It's time for my craftcation, and I told you about this in my last podcast. I have 4 days, albeit only school hours, so not very long, to spend crafting for me. I intend to reignite my creativity, get my creative juices flowing. It's very easy when you teach crafts every day to actually not lose the passion for it, but lose the enjoyment because you're not actually making all the time, which is again why I tend to make project bags, just to keep me in the zone and do my knitting at home of an evening. But I have about 5 different garments planned that I'm hoping to get a good start on, if not finish, over the course of next week. So I am going to be filming a separate craftcation video to tell you what my plans are and what I'm hoping to make, show you some of the fabrics and the patterns, and then I'm going to vlog my craftcation as well. So there should be lots to keep you entertained over the coming couple of weeks. I'm not going to make any promises as to how much knitting is going to get done, because I'm not allowing myself to do any of my knitting during my craftcation hours of the day. It can only be done of the evenings, weekends, and when I would normally do my knitting. So I'm being very strict on myself. So we'll see how I go with that. Now, the last thing to mention, I popped a video up a couple of weeks ago, which was a message to one of my subscribers, Oh Dear. Now, I was concerned that I was unable to reply to any of her comments on YouTube, and she'd been commenting on all of my videos. Lots of you contacted me and said, oh Claire, it sounds like spam, don't worry about it. But in my heart of hearts, I knew it wasn't spam, because every comment that she was posting was very relevant to the video, and it was very obvious that she'd watched the whole video, because she was commenting on particular things that had come up sort of halfway through, 3/4 of the way through. And she was obviously going back and watching some of my older videos. So it wasn't spam. I was sure it wasn't spam. It wasn't. Normally with spam you get things like nice vid, or this is fab, or thanks for that, or just random comments, but these weren't random. Anyway, the lovely Oh Dear did get in contact. She sent me an email via my website, which is the best way to get hold of me, to explain why I wasn't able to reply to her comments and or see them on my YouTube. Turns out, long story short, she'd been really badly hacked on her computer some time ago. They'd got into all sorts of files, folders, lost all sorts of information, lots of personal information. Quite scary, and didn't want to risk that happening again, and so was very tentatively getting back into the world of the web, and so therefore wanted me to know that it was absolutely fine that I couldn't reply, but as long as I knew she was watching and she knows that I know that she's watching, all is good. I'm not going to mention any names. Oh dear, you know who you are. Thank you for getting in contact. I love your comments. I do always try and thumbs up them, but it just doesn't work. You know that, I know that, all is well with the world. So I hope you continue to enjoy my videos, and I look forward to hearing from you again at some point when you master those knitted socks. Okay, so it was a very chatty podcast. I apologise, not much knitting content, but lots of interesting things to show you anyway. I look forward to sharing my craftcation with you over the next week, and I'll be back in a couple of weeks with podcast number 26. So thanks for watching. Keep those likes, subscribes and comments coming. I really love engaging with you all. So I will see you again soon. Bye for now.